Man rescues an abandoned puppy only to find out later that it's not a dog. When he set out on his walk, this man had no idea what he would discover. He was stunned to discover over time that the animal he had taken in wasn't a puppy. On a chilly winter morning, the first thing Andrei Musienko thought about when he woke up was warming up with some exercise. He wasn't in the mood for anything too strenuous and he eventually settled on a nice long walk. He was lucky to reside in one of Siberia's most isolated regions and have a forest just behind his home. Andrei walked along a well-lit path that had been traveled by many people before him and would be by many more in the future. He visited the woods often and his journey was always the same. He took a left and descended a trail he had never seen because he wanted to try something new on this particular day. The trees seemed wider in this new area and they were very tall. Andrei could only see a little bit of sunshine peeking through the leaves. All of a sudden Andrei heard a strange sound. Since the sound wasn't too far away from where he was, he decided to pursue it. It didn't take long for him to find the source. The young animal was curled up against a tree. It was a puppy and his eyes were closed. It appeared to be a little older than a few weeks. Andrei was heartbroken by the sight since he couldn't fathom why somebody would abandon a helpless animal in the middle of the wilderness. He extended his arms and moved closer to the trembling animal. He took up the puppy and held it close, thinking that his gloved hands could keep the tiny creature warm. He had no time to consider anything besides ensuring the safety of the puppy, so Andrei rushed home. The man felt in his gut that saving the abandoned puppy would be one of the most significant things he had ever done. Finally reaching his home, he pulled out some blankets and covered the freezing puppy in them. Running around, he grabbed some water and turned on the heating. The dog stopped shivering after a short while in Andrei's care and it appeared to be in a better condition already. Andrei made a call to the nearby vet and requested a checkup. He wanted to make sure that the animal was healthy and happy. Only a few hours had passed since Andrei first met the puppy, but he already sensed that they were going to bond deeply. Once again he didn't really think his plans through and simply trusted his instinct. He adopted the stray pup and named him Akela. Again, he trusted his hunch rather than giving his plans much thought. He took in the stray puppy and gave him the name Akela. Akela grew bigger over the following few months, and Andrei noticed that this new pet had a voracious appetite. Akela had always been extremely hungry, and it had only become worse over time. Andrei knew that young animals required a lot of nutrients, in particular canines and other mammals needed to feed on a regular basis to sustain their energy and weight. But Akela's feeding habits kept Andrei off guard. Akela's body shape grew wider as he grew larger and appeared to have sharper facial features. One thing that began to gnaw at Andrei's mind was a menacing breed. He was unable to solve the puzzle. Given that he had never before witnessed a dog that was threatening, he was merely mildly curious. Andrei had a lot of friends who were dog owners, so he turned to them with this burning question. They had no clue, as they were just as confused as Andrei was. In the hopes that someone would have an explanation, he sent people images and videos of Akela at various stages, but his efforts were unsuccessful. Even something as straightforward as identifying the precise breed of a dog turned out to be impossible. Andrei contacted an animal expert as a last resort. To be able to determine what breed predator he was, the expert requested a face-to-face meeting. After then, Andrei and Akela were in a car heading in the direction of the expert. Andrei walked into the practice with the creature attached to a leash. The moment he entered, the expert's mouth dropped and the woman couldn't believe what she saw. After spending all that time believing he was rearing a puppy, Andrei later realized it wasn't a dog. It turned out that it was a wolf. The fact that Akela was a Eurasian gray wolf rather than simply any wolf made the situation much more intriguing. It is commonly known that this species is the largest canine on the planet. Because of the similarities between wolf cubs and pups, Andrei's error seemed understandable. But when the creature grew older, it was practically impossible to deny that he was a gray wolf. The animal expert explained to Andrei that the size difference was one of the key things to look out for. After learning the actual nature of his beloved pet, Andrei was forced to take care of the menacing creature. It appears that many individuals find the concept of a domesticated wolf fascinating. Soon word about Akela was already reached the local zoo. These zookeepers began to call and email Andrei non-stop in an effort to persuade him to send the creature to the zoo. Andrei had heard stories about zoos which made him reluctant to step inside one, let alone give his friend up to one. But the alternate choice lacked attractiveness as well. Many people urged Andrei to return Akela to the wild, some of them worried for his and his neighborhood's safety. Since there was no assurance that Akela would be secure in the woods, Andrei was unsure about this too. He remembered the first day he met the wolf cub. Akela was left all alone to fend for himself. Akela had already spent so much time with Andrei and adapted to a new lifestyle. It was only acceptable to permit the wolf to remain with him. It didn't feel right to give up the wolf, who Andrei had already claimed as his own. Andrei's family was first skeptical about his decision to raise a wolf, because there are many possible risks associated with engaging with wild animals. And wolves in particular may be unpredictable and are frequently feared for their ferocious power and bloodthirsty appetite. However, during the time that Andrei had grown to know Akela, the dog had never displayed even the slightest trace of aggression against a human. Akela was similar to a domestic dog, therefore Andrei didn't see anything to be afraid of. Since Andrei adopted Akela, they had been inseparable for more than a year and a half. Andrei made the decision to listen to his emotions rather than the opinions of others. Eventually, every one of his family and friends agreed with his choice. Akela was happy that someone had found him, and Andrei was happy that he had located the small animal in the woods. To this day they live together in Andrei's Siberian home as happy as they could possibly be. In fact, the bond Andrei had with Akela motivated the guy to help other trapped wild creatures. Andrei established a number of protected animal bases across Russia so that gray wolves may dwell in peace. As these bases have gained popularity, a variety of dogs, including foxes and coyotes, have begun to rest there. Numerous creatures have had their lives saved thanks to Andrei.